Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abby Ritchie. I'm the founder of Senior Savvy, and every Tuesday you can find me right here interviewing people who are engaged in age tech as it relates to senior living. We've got a great show for you, one I haven't done before, and I'm really excited to bring to you. Before we do that, let's go ahead and run our intro. On this show, we talk about technology as it's impacting your residents, as it's impacting your community and your staff. And we talk a lot about the various technology. We talk a lot about innovation. But what we don't do, that we're going to do today, I think for the first time, is we're going to talk with your residents. Yes, today the residents speak. We're going to hear from your residents, and we're going to hear from some other providers who have some solutions that they want to share. So, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to invite the residents on and introduce them one at a time. First, I got to introduce Miss Farah. Go ahead, Miss Farah, come and join us today. Farah Gold McLaughlin. Farah, for anyone who doesn't know you, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, Abby, thank you so much. Well, first and foremost, I love Tech Tuesday. As you know, I was part of the Foresight team that said, let's do it. So I'm so excited to participate in your show. But I'm a veteran of senior living. I continue to work as an advisor to investors, operators, and tech companies. Now, more deeply in the resident experience because I am a resident at a beautiful boutique Revel community here in North Scottsdale. My husband's totally retired, and it's been a beautiful experience to go from the outside as an executive, now on the inside as a resident. And it's deepened my appreciation for what we do in senior living.
Amazing. Absolutely. Yeah, your input here is so valuable. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I also want to bring on Jack Cummings. Jack, welcome to Tech Tuesday.
Well, thank you. It's a delight to be here. And uh, I've noticed that my internet seems to be a little quirky today, which is one of the things, improvements that I think all residents would like to find. But that aside, I live in Carlsbad by the Sea. You can see our community in the background here. We're on the Pacific Ocean. It's a delightful place. And I'd say that our community is older, more traditional than where Farah lives in Arizona. And so, but they're coming forward into this time, and this is a very appropriate subject for today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you did mention something I think is so important, and that is just good internet, right? That's something that's huge. I hear this all the time, no matter what community I'm at. So let's definitely take note of that. And let's see, let's bring on Win Holden. Win, welcome to Tech Tuesday. I'm so glad that you're with me today.
Hi, Abby. It's great to be with this interesting group of folks. I'm a resident at V at Greyhawk, also in Scottsdale, kind of a neighbor of Ferris, I think.
Yeah.
We've been here a little over a year, my wife and and I retired after the last 18 years serving as publisher of Arizona Highways Magazine.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you for being with us today. And I think I've got George and Eleanor. George and Eleanor, welcome to Tech Tuesday. You guys there? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We've had a couple of tech challenges, and you know what? That's just part of the thing with Tech Tuesdays. We're going to have some tech challenges. Nonetheless, I want to thank you for joining us, George and Eleanor. I know that you're there, and I can see you there, and I'm very thankful for that. Now, we've got our residents here, and I want to bring on also our two guests, both Lola Rain. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Lola. And Lola, you there? There you go.
am.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you, Abby. It's good to see you. Nice to meet the residents.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we also have Dr. Crystal. Dr. Crystal, welcome to Tech Tuesday.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here after fanning a log all the time online, as well as seeing some great people in for the conversation today.
Right on, right on. Great. I am so glad that you guys are here. We're going to talk now. We're going to launch into our first question, which is, what technology are you using right now at your community that you love? And Farah, if you want to go first, that would be great.
You know, I love that. I'm going to show you. So I have, and I always like to use this as an opportunity. I use an iPhone, and look at all these apps. Well, the one app is my go-to, and I know it's a shameless shout out. But we use an app called Cubigo here at Revel, and it has transformed my understanding of how to communicate effectively. Families can have access. One of the things I love is that in these cubes, I can open up and see my fellow residents. I can go in and see activities for today, what I signed up for, and dining. It has taken away paper. We are paper free, but it also reassures me, and I can see an activity. For instance, yesterday I went to a special lunch out, and I can see all the other people that signed up, so I know where I'm going to sit, or the people I want to have a conversation with. So I really see the empowerment of technology and really putting the lifestyle that we want to enjoy as residents back in our hands.
Absolutely. The resident engagement app has come so far and does so much to connect people at communities. Yeah. How about you, Jack? What's a piece of technology at your community that you love?
Well, I do love Touchdown. We use Touchdown for the resident engagement that you were just talking about. And we have a very, very active technology committee here. So residents have taken the initiative in extending the Touchdown capabilities to allow forms. The resident chose to use Google Forms for that purpose, and that allows us to put in maintenance orders, to order meals, to do lots of things that Touchdown just hasn't rolled out yet, or if they have, our particular iteration of it doesn't include those capabilities. So that's very, very important. But the most telling is voice recognition, beginning with the Alexa. We are able to, for those people who are say vision or impaired, they're able to go to the Alexa app and say, Alexa, ask my community what's for lunch. And they're able to do an awful lot interactively.
Welcome back to Carlsbad.
With the
That's for lunch Tuesday first.
I apologize for that.
Lunch menu is
Alexa,
soup.
stop. Okay. Well, you just proved that it works. So with that, I'll pass on. That's one of the
Have a
most
great
useful
day.
apps we have.
I think she wants to be on Tech Tuesday. You know, next time we have you on, Alexa. Okay, I promise. So yeah, it's like Dr. Rose said, that
You
empowerment.
just triggered her.
I'm triggering her, right? So it's the empowerment, and there's a sense of control. You know, when you, like Farah said, you're able to see who else is coming, what time the activity is, that the mail has arrived, right? That gives you control over your day and over, you know, how you want to manage your activities. I love that feature. And, you know, last week or maybe the week before, we talked about the resident app and the power that it's had, especially at a community that's using Touchdown, and how powerful that's been. How about for you, Wynn? Let's hear about how you're using technology at your community.
Well, like Jack, we have the same parent company. And so we also use Touchdown as the principal driver.
Mhm.
One of the challenges we've had, though, and I think this may be kind of widespread, at least among seniors, is some people are not comfortable with the technology and aren't computer literate sufficiently to take advantage of it, or just don't feel comfortable sharing the information. So there's a dual system. There's a paper system that's in the mailroom, and the residents who wish to use it can sign up on paper. It really makes it difficult for staff to integrate. So one of the things I hope we're going to be able to move toward is demystifying some of the technology that intimidates some seniors.
And let me ask you, what do you think is a good way of demystifying that technology?
Well, we have, like Jack mentioned, we do also have a computer committee made up of residents, and they offered an indoctrination attempt for residents who wanted to learn more about how to use Touchdown and how to use the internet. And they expected 4 or 5 people, and they had 30. So I think one way is to make easily available tools for people to get good coaching, not in so much of a big room, but in almost one-to-one would be ideal to help folks understand how to use the technology to their benefit, because it really is something that makes your life easier.
100%, 100%. While we're talking about things that make your life easier, Lola, could you tell me what you're using that's making your community, your residents' life easier, please?
Yeah, so like what we're hearing from our residents, paper is an issue, right? People want to go green. They don't want all the flyers. And that's how we've been communicating for so long. And so part of my job at Sequoia Living is not just marketing to future residents, but it's also building communications with current residents. So we've been looking at all the tools we have access to. So email is one of them, and we use HubSpot. However, not every resident has an email, and the open rate is never going to be 100%. So that's just one tool in the entire toolbox. We also have Touchdown, and we can utilize the app, but we can also utilize the in-room television channel, which is great because we are creating more videos. We have video messaging and education that we can put out there. It's been a big initiative, of course, throughout all of COVID to make sure that we are communicating with our residents. And Zoom is also a tool used in that toolbox. So there are quarterly meetings with all of the residents and staff who gather, and the CEO and the executive team give updates. There's monthly Zoom meetings with the executive director giving updates to residents. And so that's another tool in the toolbox. Everything together builds a more holistic program, but one tool by itself is not going to be the end all be all to reach residents. We still need some type of paper because there'll be people who just don't have access to these technologies.
And just in case you're wondering, I'm 100% paper adverse. So if you looked at my files, you would see no paper around. Like anytime I have to print something, it's a problem. So I'll do it, but I'd rather not. And I know that's not for everyone. So, but Dr. Crystal, I want to hear from you in regards to how you've been able to work with residents in improving their brain health.
Yes, I appreciate being here. And this part of the conversation is our goal was to really be a one-stop shop for individuals and organizations who want to know about brain health, which is one of the top health concerns between global and national surveys. And we want to set in that space that translates the science into what you can do now, today, to take up the charge for better brain health, and really sharing that sentiment that brain cares for all. And so it's been very interesting to launch during a pandemic and work with senior living communities and providers and some of the platforms. And what we've learned through our process was the way we've been utilizing differently. Our best thing has been to keep it simple. And Zoom has really helped us expand. We originally thought we'd service Northeast Ohio, and we've been in nearly every state in over 60 countries to date, all through Zoom. And so it's allowed us to do many great things, as well as link up with many of the different providers in our senior living space.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. When the pandemic started in 2020, I thought, I'm going to have to shelf Senior Savvy until after this thing. And what I didn't realize was that several of the communities already were using Zoom and knew how to use it better than I knew how to use Zoom. And they were already doing their community-wide meetings on Zoom. And it was those communities that leaned in to doing their classes on Zoom and really made a huge difference. Just like you said, Dr. Crystal, us being able to go from working with one state to every state because of the virtual classes. And I happen to think that that is one myth that continues to prevail past COVID. And that is that people want to now meet only in person. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I know that people want to continue having the flexibility of having a hybrid class, of being able to meet on Zoom when they want to from the comfort of their home. And I wanted to ask the residents, do you feel that way? Yeah? Looks like it was down. Yes.
You know, I can speak to that.
Uh,
I'm actually teaching a master's at Arizona State University, all online.
Mhm.
And I'm here and I could possibly go to campus, but the entire program is geared online. And it has really opened my eyes to see how the One Day University platform that we use here allows residents to enjoy lifelong learning and education from their personal device and or in the theater that we provide at the community. So I agree with you, Abby. I actually think that online access is going to continue to expand a resident's world and universe view and be more inclusive and feel more included, even if they want to do that from their apartment.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Yes, Jack, what were you going to say?
Right. Well, I agree completely with what Farrah is saying. Some of the a lot depends on the degree of acuity that the residents retain as they age. Some just need that personal, touchy-feely thing that is hard to get electronically, but others are much more comfortable, and it does expand the world. So I think that that's a technology that's going to take hold over time. I wanted to comment quickly on a couple of other things. Particularly, Wynn was talking about the difficulty of not all residents are comfortable. Our technology committee was able to lobby the provider. This was a difficult undertaking, I can tell you, because it's very hard to persuade some providers to really respect residents' opinions, but we lobbied them and we got resident technical assistance here in our community. To give you an idea of the political sensitivity of that, the central office's technology department refuses to have anything to do with it, although that's beginning to shift over time. But that means that the residents have the same help desk capability that the employees have that's built as a result of their employment. So that's been a game changer for residents here. We also had a pay it forward program that was the residents tend to be leading the way in bringing technology into these communities. And so we bought Echo devices, Amazon devices, and give them to new residents to try out. And then if they like it, they make a donation that pays it forward, so that the result is that over 70% of our residents now regularly use the online capabilities, and with the tech assistance, they've become much more technologically astute. Although we do have that need for paper. And incidentally, we have a new resident who is a Nobel laureate. His specialty is deforestation. And he told us that you want to use as much paper as you can because the world is becoming deforested because there's no incentive to plant forests. If we use more paper, there's more demand for forests, and we'll be planting more trees, and that will help our carbon footprint. And I thought that's fascinating. And we went on to talk about other ways, if we could create wood devices to power cars and things. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there because most people think using paper bad, electronics better. And I hadn't thought about the fact that part of the deforestation problem is the fact that we don't use newsprint, which used to use huge amounts of paper. So
That
that's
is true. Very good point. And I had not thought about that either. Before I segue into the next section, I want to prep this by so you can start thinking about it about the type of technology you wish was invented already. And so I'm going to move into that in just a second. But I want to ask you, Wynn, I want to ask you what else is working at your community, please.
Well, like Jack, there's a real emphasis on resident engagement, both from the staff here as well as from our resident committee. I'm a really big fan of Zoom in certain applications, but as an example, I do some speaking for my former employer, Arizona Highways Magazine, across the state of Arizona, and that doing a speech on Zoom is the least engaging and rewarding experience of your life. So there are certain iterations where you got to be, I at least need the personal interaction with the audience. But in many circumstances, and COVID proved it, we've enhanced the usage and comfort of people with technology. And I think that has sped up the conversion process.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So let's launch into our next topic, which is the technology you wish someone would invent already. Lola, when you start thinking about that, about how that can impact your community, your residents, and make a big difference, what comes to mind?
Oh, there's so many things that pop up that I'm like, that is just awful, right? Like AI bots that design things and create, that don't require having creatives anymore, right? Those are the types of things from a marketing perspective and advertising perspective. Great having a computer assisting with it, but I don't feel necessarily comfortable adopting it yet of not interacting with a human to create some wonderful designs. Now, that being said, it's still, even though I kind of, feel icky about it, it's still exciting. Like what is AI going to develop over time? Are there things that we don't like to do or can't do that computers can assist with? And so those are the things I'm looking forward to. And I just haven't been able to pinpoint much from a communication education standpoint of what is on the horizon. So that's why I depend on you, Abby, to bring these things to life.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks. A couple of weeks ago, I had on, we talked about the use of robotics in senior living. And so when I think about new technology, a lot of it has to do with robotics, delivering packages, right? Delivering things at your community so that your staff doesn't need to be doing that, whether it's in the dining room or in the mailroom. So, well, Dr. Crystal, I want to know from you in regards to brain health, what's something you wish was invented that would help us strengthen our brain health?
Oh, that's a great question because there's so many emerging techs. I think the one hand, it's, detecting the changes in our memory. That's a concern for people as well as areas of our health. But I almost wish there's something that brings it all together where it balances your brain health risk with your brain health prevention and the actions you're doing. Because right now we know many of us are probably doing good things for our brain, but linking that education to the why of what we're seeking out through our creative pursuits, our endeavors, our leisure time, and then kind of tracking over time how that's having an impact. Are you sleeping better? Are you looking forward to exercise with friends? And just kind of one tech that brings it all together rather than I look back to Farah's phone of all the apps she had. You could probably have like 2 pages of ones that would help with brain health. But if we could ease it together and give you that holistic picture to know.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And from my residents, how about you? What's a piece of technology that you wish someone would invent?
Well, the technology I really wish they'd invent would be gyroscopic devices that could keep you upright so that we could reduce the number of falls. But in the shorter term, I think the biggest potential is with using televisions as interactive devices. Right now, there's no television you can get with an adequate microphone and adequate camera to allow true two-way work. Amazon has an Omni, but it doesn't have a camera. Go figure. Amazon used to make great products. I think they're losing some of their product metal as the business ages and becomes more bureaucratized. There is Cavo and Independa, and the Cavo is not built into the TV, which is a problem, but it's by far the most advanced probably for supporting senior living. Independa's device is now built into all most recent LG televisions. So I think there's a lot of potential out there, but I think the biggest breakthrough is going to be robotics, such as gyroscopes devices that help prevent falls and make those walkers, seeing these poor people bent over their walkers is just a sort of a failure of technology to catch up with what needs are, and whether the senior living industry will bring them in, or will people have to stay away from senior living to be able to have the full benefit of what technology is able to deliver. I think that's a huge question. The residents want technology.
Yeah.
Whether the industry is as open to it, that is a very big question in my mind.
Great answer. Great answer, Jack. Thank you. And Wynn, how about you? What's a piece of technology that you would wish someone would finally invent?
Well, briefly, two. One is, and it's already here, these are enhancements more than inventions. One is improved voice recognition. The ability of people with arthritis issues and other mobility challenges. We've got voice recognition, but it's quirky, it's inconsistent, and it's often not dependable, which leads me to number two, and that is far more consistent broadband performance. As we've become more dependent upon streaming services and less on hard wires, having consistent delivery of signals and content is critical.
Yep, absolutely. Good one. And Farah, how about for you? What's a piece of technology you wish was finally invented?
I go back to robotics as well. And again, as I finished a master's at Arizona State, #1 in health innovation, and my program is in healthcare innovation for aging. That's what we talk about every day. But it's the nuances. So I look at some of the challenges in independent living, and how do residents have the ability, if they come here, to have supported socialization and nutrition, and yet need an escort back to their apartment. That's very people intensive. So I do see the companion robots really being able to take off to allow people to be independent, whether it's at home aging in place. Another is enhancements around sort of the naturally occurring retirement communities and in urban settings, as well as area agencies on aging, where you have aging individuals types of neighborhood watch programs. And what I mean by that is if you see something, say something. So that's of particular interest to me. So that again, along a continuum, the research shows us that if a person doesn't go, if they've had a fall and they don't have to be ambulated to emergency care or hospital, the outcome is better for them. And so that goes back to how do we communicate within this continuum of care? And I think those are the enhancements Wynn is talking about with some existing technologies.
Yeah, very, very well said. Thank you. And we've had a lot of comments today, a lot of chat here and participation, which I'm thrilled with. And for anyone who's watching that right now, if there's a question you want to ask the residents, please go ahead and put it in the comments and we will post it. And while we're doing that, I want to ask my guest, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you directly? And Dr. Crystal, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you directly?
Is visiting our website, which is virtualbrainhealthcenter.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And Lola, how about for you?
The best way to get in touch with me is through LinkedIn. Just find Lola Rain on LinkedIn.
Yeah, great. Me too. You can reach out anytime. And let's say, Win, how about you?
I'm part of the witness protection program, so we don't.
Good. Enough is enough. You got the whole residents getting in contact with you, right?
Just through V at Greyhawk is the easiest way to do it.
Okay, in person, right? You're
Yeah.
not doing email anymore,
Oh,
right?
sure. Oh, sure. But I'm sorry, I didn't follow the directions appropriately and didn't put the address in.
That's okay. That's okay. I value you being here. And Jack, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you? Jack, are you there, or did you freeze up on us? Oh, there you go.
Aging.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you,
My phone?
but you're. Let's say.
Okay, well, I muted myself a second ago because there's a huge storm. The storm noise was so loud. But I have a website, actionaging.com. Actionaging.com. And I think most of it's interesting.
And Farah, how about you? What's the best way for people to connect with you?
I'm also on LinkedIn at Farah Gold McLaughlin, but Farah at theresidentjourney.com is a great way to reach out to me via email. And, I welcome, any questions that I may support, someone with, or get resources to the right place.
Wonderful. You guys have been great today. I'm so thrilled to hear from you. I want to do this again and again and again. We had so many people in the chat just say, yes, it's time we heard from the residents. Yes, it's great to hear the resident perspective because we just don't have enough opportunity to hear from you. So I want to thank you for that. And thank you to the wonderful folks who joined us in the chat with your participation. This is just makes always for a great show. And for my guests as well, Lola and Dr. Crystal, thank you for being here today. You guys, thank you. I'm so very grateful. And thank you, Jada, for moving our cameras all around and just making this work. You guys are awesome, and I am thrilled. And we will see you all back here next week.